raise your right hand for us. Thank you. You solemnly state that the testimony you may give the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Thank you. Please take a seat on the witness stand there. Feel free to adjust the microphone and state and spell your name for the record.
Louis Levin, Louis-Levin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Levin.
Good afternoon.
Do you go by any other name than Louis Levin?
Yes, ASAP Lou.
Okay. Mr. Levin, in anticipation of the prosecution's questions later, would you ever commit perjury to defend Rocky?
No.
Would you ever commit perjury for anyone?
No.
Do you understand the significance of the oath you've taken today?
Yes, I do.
And do you take that oath seriously?
Yes,
Is this your first time testifying?
it is.
What do you do for a living?
I'm Rocky's tour manager. I also DJ, and I have a clothing brand.
And what are your responsibilities as Rocky's tour manager include?
Just doing the routing for the shows, make sure that the production staff is hired, the production is right, he gets there on time, just that we have a successful and good show.
Okay. And in addition to touring, are you also involved in Rocky's music videos?
Yes, I am.
And what does that involve?
Sometimes I'm featured in the videos, but most of the time I'm there to like help manage directors, producers, assistants, props, light, anything, just kind of the helping hand.
Okay. And how long have you worked with Rocky?
Since 2010.
When did you first meet him?
I met him in 2010 at a concert in Brooklyn.
And can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I was.
relevant just to overall. You can answer.
Yes, I was actually a fan in the crowd, and I was a fan for him for a while, and I was in the crowd. He picked me out of the crowd and said, like, you're hyped, I like your energy, come up on stage. Went up on stage, and then after that went backstage and met him, 12E, Bari, Ills, just all the ASAP guys.
And did you begin working with Rocky at that time?
Not right away. It was a couple months after. It was either later in 2010 or early 2011.
And what was your first position with Rocky?
I was his assistant first.
And what did that involve?
Just like assistant tasks, make sure he's up on time, he makes his meetings, phone calls, he eats, his bags are packed, he's prepared for the day.
Okay. And was there a time where you switched positions? Where you stopped doing that?
Yeah, I did that for about 3-4 years, and then I started being his tour DJ, and like when he did after parties or clubs, his DJ for that as well.
Okay. And when did you start becoming his tour manager?
I would say 2017, 2018, somewhere around there.
Okay. Now, in addition to the work you do for Rocky, have you held any other jobs?
Well, yeah, I DJ and I have a clothing brand.
Okay.
I DJ on my own. Yeah.
And how large are the venues that you DJ for?
It varies. I've done like festivals with a few thousand people. I've done smaller private events, like club events. It varies, but I've done international, domestic. I traveled for a lot.
Okay. And you mentioned that you met ASAP 12. Is that right?
Yeah, the first show I met Rocky.
And what's your relationship been like with 12?
It's been good. I would consider him a close friend.
And did you ever meet someone known as A AP Relli?
Yes.
And what's your relationship been like with him?
Over the years, it's always kind of been up and down. It would be times where like we were good, and then like a week later, he would text me or call me and say, "Fuck you, you're a bitch, you're a faggot." Oh, sorry.
Overall. You can answer.
He would text me and just be aggressive, like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna fuck you up when I see you, you're a bitch, you're a faggot," but then a week later say, "Hey, I miss you, we should hang out." Like, it's been like that ever since I've known him, really.
What's your understanding as to why it's been like that?
Your Honor, that's going to call for speculation. It's also relevant in perspective too.
What's your understanding as to why it's been that way?
What's your understanding? What?
What's your understanding as to why it's been that way?
The objection sustained.
Okay. Ms. Levin, do you have any experience with firearms?
Yes, I do.
And are you licensed to possess firearms?
Yes, I am.
When did you get licensed?
In 2020,
And why?
it was COVID times, and it was pretty crazy. There was a lot of like home invasions, there's a lot of people getting robbed, there's a lot of violence going on, and I just felt the need to have something in my house to protect myself.
Okay. And what firearms, if any, do you own?
I own a Smith & Wesson M&P 9, I own a Glock 42, I own a 12-gauge shotgun, and an AR-15. Right.
What caliber is the Glock 42?
It's .380.
Now, what do you do with those firearms?
Take them to the shooting range, keep them in my house. So,
Okay. And do you consider yourself knowledgeable about guns?
yeah, I would say so.
All right. Are you personally aware whether or not Rocky's been the victim of prior violence?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And can you tell us about that knowledge?
I know he was jumped in a club in 2018. His face was cut.
Motion to strike the answer.
Hold on.
Sorry.
He can testify to what he has observed relating to that. If anything has been told to him, that would be an admissible hearsay.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, with that instruction, are you personally aware of anything that you observed in terms of past violence against Rocky?
Yeah, that I personally observed. He had some home invasions and a stalker.
And can you tell us about the stalker?
The stalker has actually gotten into his home before. I saw the security footage, and I've actually encountered her in person before, like just following me around.
Okay. And when's the last time there was an incident with the stalker?
It was Memorial Day of 21.
Around May of 2021?
I would say yes.
Now, do you know of any security measures that Rocky took in response to these incidents?
Yes, he started getting a security guard to sit outside his house for 24 hours, and he started carrying a prop gun.
Yeah, I'm gonna object. Lax Foundation.
How do you know that? How do you know about the security company and the prop gun?
I physically saw them, both the prop gun and the security company.
Objection withdrawn.
The objection's over. All right, the objection's over. Ask another question.
Thank you. So what's your understanding of what a prop gun is?
It's a prop gun is something that looks like a real gun. It doesn't fire a projectile. It makes the same noise. It looks like it. It's just, like I said, it doesn't actually shoot anything out of it.
All right. I think you just answered this, but were you personally involved in Rocky's decision to carry the prop gun?
Security and I thought it would be a good idea.
Why?
Well, because of the prior violence, it's just a non-lethal form like self-defense.
Okay. Now, you said you worked with Rocky on music videos. Did any of them involve prop guns?
Yes.
Which was the most recent one?
DMV.
And where was that music video made?
It was made in New York.
Who were the main characters in that video?
Rakim Mayers.
Do you know where Rocky got the prop gun that he carried from?
Yes, he got it from that video shoot.
And how do you know that?
I was on set and I handled it there.
Have you seen him take it?
I did see him take it, yes.
When was the DMV music video recorded?
July 2021.
So about a month or two after that May 2021 incident with the stalker?
Correct, yes.
Now, after the DMV video, how do you know that Rocky carried that prop gun?
I personally saw him and I handled it.
Did you see Rocky with it on November 6th, 2021?
I did, yes.
Where were you when you saw it?
We were at in Long Beach at ComplexCon. We had rehearsals that day for the show, which was the next day, the 7th. During rehearsals, he does like a dress rehearsal where he gets on stage and runs around and rehearses his performance. While he was running around, he handed me the prop gun to hold, so it was in safekeeping.
Okay. And based on what you've seen and heard, did Rocky hide from his friends the fact that he carried that prop gun?
Not to his close friends, no.
And how do you know that?
It was known by everyone. I mean, it was just something that everyone knew. Like his close friend circle, everybody we knew that he carried a prop gun.
Have you ever seen Rocky carry a real firearm in public?
Not in public, no.
Now, the prop gun that you've been talking about, what type is it, or was it?
It was a Glock 26.
And did you ever do anything to that prop gun to modify it?
Yes. I added this thing on the side of it called the clip draw, and what that is essentially it lays flush to the slide, and it allows you to put it in your waistband more securely, so if you have to carry it out. And then I also added a clear extended magazine on it.
And why did you put the clear extended magazine on it?
Well, the Glock 26 is a small, like, subcompact gun. The whole point of him carrying this was to make it look intimidating, to kind of scare people off that were going to try to harm him. So having the clear magazine and extended magazine made it look a little bit more intimidating.
To your knowledge, did there come a point where Rocky stopped carrying that pop gun?
Yes, it was after November
Now,
6th.
objection foundation in terms of how he knows this, do we get the foundation?
How do you know?
Oh, because I was part of the decision. He gave it to me. He gave it to me after.
Objection's overruled. Thank you.
And why was that decision made?
That's gonna call for speculation unless there's firsthand knowledge.
Overruled.
The decision was made because, like I said, he carried it to deter violence, and then on November 6th, after the incident, it obviously didn't work, and he decided to just get actual armed security. He didn't want to carry it anymore.
Do you know what happened to that pop gun?
Yes, I brought it back to New York.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so after he gave it back to me, January, I believe, of next year, 2022, I flew back to New York with it, and I gave it to the co-director that we got it from.
When you said you gave it to him in New York, how did you get to New York with the pop gun?
Oh, we took a private jet.
Now, do you know if Rocky was licensed to possess firearms in 2021?
That's gonna, again, call for hearsay.
Sustain.
Do you know if Rocky owned firearms in 2021?
And that's also the last foundation way to ask. Ask him what he knows, what he sees.
You can answer.
Yes, he did.
And what firearms did he own?
It was a Desert Eagle, 44 Magnum, and an AR-10 rifle.
And are they designed to accommodate 9mm caliber ammunition?
No, they're not.
Have you ever been to Rocky Summit?
Yes,
How often?
many times.
And have you ever seen firearms or ammunition there?
Yes.
Did you ever plan on going to a shooting range with Rocky?
Yeah, we did. It was in the summertime of 21, I would say July, August, somewhere around there.
And what preparations did you make in order to go?
So I came to his place first with my both of my pistols, my handguns. And while we were there, I was oiling the guns up and loading the magazines, and also calling around the shooting ranges to try to secure like a private area, a private room.
And why did you do that? Why were you looking for a private room?
Well, because of who he is, he's a celebrity, and you know we just didn't want to cause a commotion going there. And usually when we go out places, we do try to get a private room. Like,
Okay. In this instance, did you actually end up going to the shooting range?
no, we couldn't secure anything. Everything was booked out, or just nothing was available that day.
Okay. So what did you do instead?
Just hung out at this place. We had a couple of drinks, talked, bullshit.
Okay. Did you go home that night?
I did.
And did you bring your weapons and ammunition back with you?
I did not.
Why not?
Because I had a couple of drinks. I didn't think it'd be wise to travel with my firearms.
Okay. Did you go back to Rocky's house to retrieve your belongings at some point?
Yeah, the next day I did.
And at that time, did you take everything with you?
I took everything except for one magazine. It was a Glock 43 magazine.
Okay. Now, do you own a Glock 43?
I did not.
All right. So why did you have a Glock 43 magazine?
So when I purchased my Glock 42, and I was at the gun shop buying accessories for it, more magazines, I had mistakenly grabbed the Glock 43 magazine. When you're in the store, everything is like right next to each other. So it's the Glock section, it's all of the list, the 17, 19, it's all the accessories. They were right next to each other, and I grabbed it mistakenly. And I didn't realize until that day that I had mistakenly grabbed it.
And I want to show you what's in evidence is Exhibit 40. Give us Exhibit 40. 40B? 40B. Direct your attention to This right here.
Yes.
For the record, he's pointed to what appears to be a handgun magazine in the middle of the photo, or other magazines and rounds in the video. Is that correct, Ron?
That's accurate.
Okay, that's 11. I just pointed to. What is that?
That's my Glock 43 magazine.
Was this magazine ever used?
No.
Can you tell that from looking at the picture?
Personally, I guess, because I mean, I own firearms and I own other magazines. Usually it has wear marks on the side of it from going in and out of the pistol or firearm. So that one has nothing on it. It's clearly brand new. It's just loaded.
All right, I want to show you what's in evidence of People's Exhibit 42.
You don't have to take them all out. We'll stipulate some numbers you like.
Let's do this. Can you zoom in on it? Out of the way. Okay. Why don't we do this? Yeah. So I want you to take a look at this. Cartridge. Tell me if you recognize that.
Yes.
What is it?
It's a 6-hour 9mm cartridge. It's mine.
Is that the ammunition that you left at Rocky's house?
Correct, yes.
The one that, excuse me, ammunition that was contained in that magazine that we just saw?
That's correct.
By the way, going back to the magazine, when you realized it was the wrong one, why didn't you return it?
It's a $20 magazine. It would have cost more in gas to go there back and forth in my time.
Okay. All right, I want to show you what's in evidence is Defense Exhibit CC. Look, do you see the two shell casings on the right?
Yes.
Can you see the imprint on the bottom of those shell casings? Can you make it out?
Yes.
Okay. And what do they say? What's the imprint?
FC 9mm Luger.
Okay. Can you tell us what brand these casings are?
That's Federal.
Okay. And the cartridges on the left, are those the cartridges that you just saw?
Yeah, the one you just handed me.
Okay, that's the 9mm ammunition that you left in Rocky's house?
Correct.
Okay, and what brand is that?
SIG, 6-hour.
All right. So are these 9mm shell casings on the right the same brand as your 9mm ammunition on the left?
They're not.
Okay, we don't have anything further.
Mr. Levin, as you sit here today, do you consider yourself to be an unbiased witness?
Yes, I do.
So do you agree that you come in to your testimony today looking at the defendant as basically a brother, correct?
Yes.
And would you agree that you do not want to see him convicted in this case? Agreed?
Well, I've already he's facing 24 years. I don't want to see him go to jail for 24 years.
Your Honor, please admonish the jury that that is an incorrect statement.
Ask the question again.
Did you not understand the question that I asked?
Can you please rephrase it?
So I'm going to ask you going forward, sir. I want you to answer the question I asked, and only that question, and not add anything that you want to add. The attorney who called you will have a chance to get up here on redirect and to ask you anything that he wants to ask. Do you understand that?
Yes, I apologize. Can you please rephrase it?
My question is, isn't it true, sir, that whether or not the defendant committed this crime or not, you do not want him to be convicted, do you?
I believe in the judicial system. Anyone who's committed a crime and is guilty and found guilty by a jury should pay for their crime.
I'm going to ask you again, sir. Given your close relationship with the defendant, isn't it true that you do not want him to be convicted in this case? Yes or no?
I can't really answer that. I don't know the details, full details of the case. I can't accurately answer that. I'm sorry.
You would agree that you have in addition to your personal relationship, you have a financial relationship with the defendant, correct?
Not significant.
Well, wait a minute, you're his tour manager, correct?
Yeah, the past 2-3 years, he barely toured.
Well, if he tours, would you expect to be the tour manager?
When he tours, yes.
And when he tours, that can be very financially lucrative for the defendant and for anybody else who is associated with him, correct?
Sure, yeah.
So you would agree, sir, that you have a financial interest in the defendant being able to continue to tour where you can be his tour manager, is that correct?
I'm sorry. Can you ask it again? Threw me off.
Sure. Would you agree that you have a future financial interest in the defendant being able to perform and tour?
Yes, but it's not the majority of my income.
That's not what I asked.
Everything after yes is true.
I apologize. Sorry.
Are you aware of the defendant having toured in Bangkok?
In Bangkok?
Yeah.
Yes.
When did that happen?
Last year in November, I believe we did the show.
In fact, you're aware that this trial was delayed so he could tour, correct?
Well sustained, the objection sustained.
You just told me he rarely tours anymore. He just toured in Bangkok a couple of months ago, correct?
I wouldn't consider that a tour. A tour is multiple shows. That was one show. It was a one-off show.
Did you go?
Of course I would, yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, you got paid for going, right?
Yes.
So do you agree that you have a financial interest in the defendant continuing to be able to tour?
Yes. Yeah, I'm not going to keep talking. Yes.
So how much of your income, I'm not asking you what you make, but what percentage of your income is either directly or indirectly related to the defendant?
Currently, I would say 30%.
And what was it previously?
Previously, when?
Well, so you said currently it's 30%, you agree.
Like I said, it varies. It depends on how much he's toured. So when he tours, I can't accurately tell you because that's years ago when he was actually touring.
When he was actually touring, you were making more money, is that correct?
Well, yeah, the more shows we do, the more I make, yeah.
And in fact, when you were his assistant, that's what he paid you, correct?
I'm sorry, when I was an assistant, I got paid, yes.
And that was your primary source of income, correct?
In 2010, yeah, that was.
So historically, the defendant has been an extremely important source of income for you, is that right?
Yes, he's opened the door for me to have other opportunities aside from working directly from him to be able to further benefit financially. So I DJ on my own, like I said, not with him. I travel on my own. And recently, for the past couple of years, that's been the majority source of my income, yes.
And in terms of you being able to establish yourself as a DJ and your clothing brand, you have the defendant in large part to thank for that, don't you?
Sure, yes.
Now, I want to ask you, when did you first speak to the defense in this case?
In August of 2024.
So you're saying the very first time that you spoke to the defendant's lawyers was nearly 3 years after the incident?
That's correct.
Had you spoken to the defendant about this incident prior to that time?
Yeah.
Had you spoken to him numerous times about it?
More than once? Sure, yeah.
So we're going to go back to the very beginning. When did you first hear about this incident on November 6, 2020?
The next day?
And did you talk to the defendant about it?
Yes.
And at that point in time, did he tell you that he had pulled a prop gun on Relli?
Yes, he explained to me the situation of what happened on the night of November 6th.
And at that point in time, were you aware that Relli was already contacting the defendant and other members of his entourage, for lack of a better word, and basically demanding money?
I don't recall that specifically.
You became aware near the time of the incident that Relli wanted money, correct?
I can't recall that specifically. No, I know about the incident, but I don't know. He didn't contact me about wanting any money. So I don't know, I can't recall specifically if he did that.
Let me ask you something. Did you become aware at some point in time that Relli wanted money?
Yeah.
And did you become aware of that from the defendant?
To be honest, I think I became aware of it when everything came out in the media.
Wait, so you're saying you never had a conversation with the defendant back near this, when this event happened, about the defendant wanting, the victim wanting a bunch of money from him?
Like I said, sir, to be honest, I can't recall that specific conversation.
I'm not asking a specific conversation. I'm asking, did you have any conversation with the defendant, who you described as your brother, a fellow ASAP, the person who you were his personal assistant? Did you have any conversation with him near the time of this event about what happened, the fact that Relli wanted money for it?
When you say the fact that Relli wanted money, like I said, I can't recall if we specifically spoke about that right around the time of the event.
When did you become aware that Relli wanted money?
I told you, I don't specifically recall, but I believe it may have been around when everything came out in the media.
And when you say everything coming out in the media, do you mean?
When the defendant was arrested.
And that's going to be in 2022, is that correct?
In April, I believe, yes.
And you're telling me that before that time, as far as you can remember, you didn't have any conversation with the defendant about what Relli wanted from him. Is that correct?
Like I said, sir, I cannot specifically remember.
So I'm asking you, sir, as you sit here, to the best of your memory, did you have any conversation with the defendant about Relli wanting money from him between the time the incident happened and the time that it became public in April of 2022?
And again, I said I cannot specifically remember if we spoke about it around the time of the event.
When you say you cannot specifically remember, what do
I
you
cannot
remember?
recall. I recall him telling me about the event, how it happened on November 6th, the night. I can't remember him specifically saying Rel was trying to extort him for money.
So I want to go back to your conversations with the defense. You said that you first spoke to them in August 2024, is that correct?
Yes.
And that was for approximately 90 minutes, correct?
Yes, I would say so.
And that was in what city?
It was in New York.
And who was present during that conversation?
It was Joe, Chad, and Eleanor.
Eleonora?
Eleanor, yeah, sorry. Pardon me.
And did they have an investigator there monitoring or recording the proceedings?
No, it was just them and me.
Did you see them taping anything?
They were not taking anything.
Did you see them taking any notes?
They were not taking any notes.
Do you have any idea how they were in any way memorializing or even remembering what it was you were telling them during this 90-minute interview?
Objection, speculation.
I'm asking if he knows. What's that, Your Honor? No, all right. The question calls for a yes or no. It's over.
I'm sorry, can you repeat it one more time?
You said they were not recording.
Yes.
You said they were not taking notes.
Correct.
You said there was no investigator that was there monitoring.
Correct.
So I'm asking you, are you aware, do you know how they were keeping track of what you were saying during the interview?
Objection, speculation.
Ask what he knows.
On
He's
that
in the
ground.
interview.
On that ground,
And it seems a fact on the other.
Sustained. You just testified they were not recording anything and they were not taking any notes, correct?
That is correct.
So I'm not asking you to speculate, so I'm asking, do you know, are you aware of how they were documenting and keeping track of what you were saying?
Objection,
you
Your
mean
Honor.
if they were?
Yes, if they were, yes, Your Honor.
I'm not aware.
You had a second interview with them when?
January 26th of this year.
January 26th, that would be approximately 6 days after this trial started. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, sure.
Have you seen, sir, the statement, the summary that they turned over of your total information that you provided them in this case. Have you seen it?
Yeah, you showed it to me this morning.
Would you agree, sir, that it is literally 9 bullet points?
Yes, that's what it appears to be.
You testified on direct examination to a number of incidents and issues already. You talked about the fact that the prop gun was modeled after Glock 26, is that correct?
That's correct.
Would you agree that what you said about the prop gun in your prior statement was as follows? Rocky carried a prop gun after being the victim of prior violence and home invasions, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
What's the
States
ground?
the evidence, not his prior statement.
Correct? This is what's been represented as your prior statement. Rocky carried a prior- This has been represented as a summary of the prior statement turned over in discovery pursuant to PC 1054.3. Is, sir, it says that you said Rocky carried a prop gun after being the victim of prior violence and home invasions. Is that what you said?
Yeah, this is what the summary says.
Did you provide any more detail than that to them?
In August of 24, I honestly, I can't completely, I mean, if they ask me for more details, then I did give them more details.
Mr. Levin, are you telling me you can't remember you're asked about Rocky carrying a prop gun, and you mentioned prior violence and home invasions, and you were saying you don't know if they asked you, hey, what prior violence, what home invasion? You don't remember that?
I don't want to misspeak, and like I said, I can't completely recall. This is 6-7 months ago.
Well, you just testified to information on direct examination. You would agree regarding home invasions and prior violence that is not in here, is that correct?
I'm sorry, can you guys get another way? I apologize.
You just testified on direct examination. You were asked questions specifically about prior violence and home invasions, and you said, as an example, you saw video of a home invasion, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Can you tell me where in your statement it mentions anything about a video of a home invasion?
Objection again, Your Honor, it's not in the statement.
What's the, can I get a ground, Your Honor?
Misleading.
Misleading.
Overruled. Fine. Misstates the evidence.
It's a question, it's not misstating anything.
Objection's overruled.
Look, can you tell me where you see any information, sir, about having viewed videos of a home invasion?
Objection is irrelevant.
Overruled.
Wait,
Relevant?
Not his statement.
sustain.
On what grounds?
It's not relevant what he sees on that piece of paper.
Did you tell them specifically about the information of viewing video of home invasions during your interviews? Tell them that.
Again, this is 6-7 months ago. I don't want to misspeak. I don't want to say yes. I don't want to say no, and I don't feel confident. I don't want to misspeak. I don't recall, sir. I'm sorry.
What about 2 weeks ago in January when you spoke to them? Did you talk to them about it then?
I believe so, yes.
Did you, sir, ever mention anything to them in any of your interviews about going to a shooting range or trying to go to a shooting range? The incident you just discussed on direct, did you tell them about that?
About the shooting range?
Yes.
Yes.
I want you to take a look and tell me if you see any mention of a shooting range in your statement.
Objection, irrelevant. Your Honor, the same objection is.
I'm sorry, I was talking to Alex.
The question, Your Honor, I've asked him, he testified on direct regarding the shooting range incident, not being able to go there, what happened, how he went to the house, how the 9mm magazine was.
Right. What about that?
I'm asking him, he said, yes, I told them that information. I'm asking him, do you see that information in your statement?
The objection's, it's irrelevant what he sees on that piece of paper.
Did you definitively go through with them, sir, that incident that you testified to on direct examination?
Did I go through with them in detail? No.
Well, what did you tell them about that incident? Was it just what you said on direct?
There exactly what I said on direct? I don't know if it was word for word.
Well, did you tell them in essence, sir, about that incident involving your attempt to go to the shooting range and how you ended up leaving a 9mm Glock 43 magazine at the defendant's home? Did you tell them that?
I told them that that was my magazine at the home, yes.
That's not what I asked you.
Tracy, do you want to go, can we go another half hour, 45 minutes? I know it's, yes, go ahead.
Yes, we can
Go to 3?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't ask you if you mentioned that it was your magazine. I asked you, did you tell them about the incident, giving the detail that you just gave on direct examination? Did you tell them that?
What detail in specific is that?
You just on direct examination you recited an alleged incident where you were going to go to the shooting range. You went over to the defendant's house with all of your guns and magazines, that you had some drinks, and then because you drank too much, you decided you were going to leave a magazine for a gun you didn't own at the defendant's home. Did you tell the defense that during your interview?
No, not in detail like that. I didn't rehearse it with them, if that's what you're trying to say.
That's not what I'm trying to
Okay.
say. I'm asking, did you tell them that?
I didn't tell them in detail like that, no.
Well, do you know then how they knew to ask you about it if you never told them?
About the I told them we were going to go to a shooting range.
Let me continue. Were you ever asked, sir, were you ever shown what I just showed you, those bullet points? Were you ever given that to the defense and said, hey, listen, Mr. Levin, does this accurately depict what you told us?
The first time I saw that piece of paper was this morning when you showed me.
Did they ever call you to go over your statement, to say, hey, listen, we've got to turn over your statement to the prosecution. We want to make sure we have everything. Did they ever do that?
No.
You said you have knowledge and experience with firearms. Is that correct?
Yes.
You said you owned numerous firearms. Is that correct?
Correct.
You are currently a resident of California, have been a resident in California for many years. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you understand there's a legal duty to register firearms in California. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you would agree that you have a history of complying with the law and registering your firearms. Is that right?
When I buy my firearms, I buy them at a licensed dealer, yes.
And you were aware, sir, before you ever took the stand today, you were aware that the Glock 43 magazine that you allegedly gave to the defendant,
I didn't give it to him. I left it at his
that
house.
you left there.
Yes.
You were aware, sir, that you did not have a registered gun that would fit that magazine, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And in fact, isn't it true, Mr. Levin, that you understood that because you did not have a registered gun that would fit that magazine, that you had to come up with a story to explain how it was that not only you left a magazine at the defendant's house without a firearm to go with it, but also why you had that magazine in the first place. Is that correct?
I'm not saying,
Argumentative.
It's cross-examination.
I didn't have to come up with a story as the truth.
And when is it your position that you first told the defense the details that you just described about having brought that magazine over with your gun, having had the drinks, and having left it there? When did you first tell the defense about that?
Like I said, with the full I told him in August that that was my magazine at his house. The full details of that, I can't believe, I can't remember exactly when I told him the full details of the story.
Well, you only talked to him twice, you said, right?
3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you tell him that on January 26th?
We didn't get into details. They just asked me about the shooting range incident and why the magazine was there.
Wait, how did they ask you about a shooting range incident when you'd never told them about the shooting range?
I told you I had told them about it.
So you told them about the shooting range incident back in August of 2024?
Well, yes, I believe so.
And your testimony is that they, even though you told them about it, they didn't ask for any details. Is that correct?
In August of '24, I can't accurately remember. I don't want to misspeak, sir.